I'm here from the Department for Energy Security and Net Zero, and my kind of intention here is to provide a bit of an overview as to kind of the direction of travel, some of the key strategic objectives that have been outlined, and to kind of reiterate our commitment and excitement about hydrogen, not just in the UK, but all over the world. And I'm a little bit biased because I've been working on it for a really long time, but it's been incredible to see all the progress and the collaboration across countries and organizations. And in the UK government, we see a key role for hydrogen, but it's not the only technology in the clean kind of energy space. And we kind of acknowledge that the world is changing. So it's really important in our approach that we kind of explore a number of different kind of policies, technologies to understand how they can come together at the system level. And that's what I'm really interested in, because I think technologies in isolation are less interesting. We want to know kind of how these come together in communities, regional areas, what is kind of the unique aspect that can be added. But I think this is always very interesting to bring to light, because at the moment we have virtually no low carbon hydrogen. So there's still a ways to go, and this is why it's so important to have the discussions around innovation, existing gaps, and to kind of highlight some of the policy mechanisms we have in place to support the development of low carbon hydrogen. And another thing to note is that we're really keen that we utilize our expertise that already exists. So for example, all the expertise in the North Sea, the scientific capability. I was at a conference yesterday and it was really interesting to hear about all the progress that are being made in our research institutions. So I think it's something that a lot of countries kind of talk about the UK having as a strength, and it's something that we're looking to really leverage. So I think another thing, touching on the systems element that we really focus on, is taking that whole system approach. It's really important that we kind of develop hydrogen across the entire value chain in parallel. And production is the kind of aspect that gets the most attention. So I'll start there. But we have a number of policy mechanisms at the moment, because we recognize that there is a cost gap right now, and it's really important to kind of get these industries, supply chains, and the R&I off the ground. So to kind of support that commitment, we have capital co-funding. So the government has launched a 250 million net zero hydrogen fund. And this is to kind of support the early stage production projects and the kind of initial costs that would be required to overcome. And we also have a UK revenue support mechanism. So we actually have several different business models just to really reiterate that commitment to developing not just production, but transport and storage as the key bridge to demand. And in a number of these areas, because the landscape has been developing so quickly, we'll be making some key decisions in the next few months and year. And also in March, we had quite a big moment. I will touch on that later, but the government published a Powering Out Britain plan, which covered not just hydrogen, but other technologies and the kind of synergies between these technologies. And as I mentioned on the network side, it's a challenge, and we really want to kind of work not just in government, with other organizations, with investors, try and understand kind of how can we do this in the best way. And there is a huge economic opportunity. In the UK, we expect there to be over 900 million in opportunities by 2030, and even more in the rest of the supply chain. And this market will grow even further by 2050. And we need it. We need it to decarbonize. And it's kind of a key recurring theme in a lot of the carbon budgets and the scenario work that's been going on across government, but in other organizations too. So this diagram, some people like it, some people don't. I like it. It's always good to have a visual representation of what we're trying to do and where we're trying to go. And of course, as time goes on, some of the kind of decisions will become a bit clearer. We might notice there's kind of more of a role for one technology in one stage. But the other thing to reiterate is that in the UK, we support multiple production technologies, and you'll hear colors being thrown around a lot: green, blue, gray, pink. We see a role for all the kind of low carbon production methods, and we recognize initially there might be a greater role for CCUS enabled blue hydrogen and electrolytic green, and there will be a ramp up of green in particular as we kind of deploy further renewables, and we're aiming for over 50 gigawatts in the UK, and of course wind is a key strength of ours, so I think we kind of got lucky in that aspect, but it doesn't come without challenges. And one of the interesting roles of hydrogen is kind of in the storage space and flexibility, which is something we're also looking at. So to kind of come back to the Powering Up Britain plan, I think it's a helpful place to start, just to kind of get a good understanding of some of the key things we're looking to deliver. But in terms of progress across the value chain and things to look out for, we will be developing a hydrogen production delivery roadmap, and that's going to provide additional detail and certainty as to where we're going and what that might require. We've also been publishing many consultations in government, but I think key one as well to look out for is we're looking to kind of consult on the need and potential design options for hydrogen to power and a potential market intervention. And we're also introducing those powers so that we can design the transport and storage business models, which will be really important. And I think it's something that not unique, but sends really clear signals around the fact that we want to develop a hydrogen economy, not just kind of production or demand in isolation. I think this is my final slide. I didn't have long, but do please feel free to kind of reach out and kind of ask the questions. We're really interested in government and hearing about some of the kind of barriers to investment and what we can do to kind of make those better as much as we can in providing certainty. But I will say in our approach we've kind of developed also an investor roadmap which kind of highlights the pipeline, which I think is a really helpful tool. Yeah, I'll leave it there. Thank you.